Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. Today's date is Wednesday, the 1st of April 2026. This is the 52nd video of my video journal series. Today's date is April Fools! And my internet service provider decided to play the biggest prank on me today because when I got home, the Wi-Fi was down. So happy April Fools, everyone. I'm now recording this video on my phone, and once I'm done, I gotta upload it using my mobile data. Good old Australian internet, am I right? Yeah, so I'm gonna keep this one a little bit quick, because obviously I have limited mobile data, and it's always gonna happen. I swear to God, it's gonna happen where as soon as I upload the video, the Wi-Fi, my network service provider, finally fix the issue. At least around my area, I'm getting like a little bit of a outage right now. And it happens like every, I guess, couple so weeks or months where some days or some hours of the day you don't really get much signal, or your signal's cut for whatever reason, or they need to do maintenance on the network. It's really annoying. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, and I guess one topic I want to discuss today is falling asleep in class. Now, I did not fall asleep in class today, even though I had classes today, but I had a very long day of classes, I woke up early in the morning and now I just got back home. And obviously they'll like spread out across the day, they won't like condense, but there've been moments, throughout the day where I've almost slept. Some, when I'm sitting down, leaning against the wall, I'm like, just going between on and off mode. Like my eyes, like I keep one eye shut and then I rotate to like mimic the, I guess, practice of sleeping without actually sleeping. You're just like sitting down there and you're like just going in and out, because you don't want to sleep during someone's class. It's gonna be very like disrespectful. So you like almost there, your eyes are like halfway, you switch between your left and right, I guess like sort of pupils. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's done this technique. And yeah, it's just god. And I remember like especially during high school, when you have to go to school every single day, 5 days straight, it eventually has like a toll on you. And there have been moments in high school where I've nearly fell asleep during class. I knew some kids who did fall asleep during class, and I wouldn't blame them, but you just like sit there and you just like, trying to like, I guess, not make it entirely, known to everyone that you're tired. You're trying to like, like, yet again, lean against the wall, lean against your chair. Just trying to like take deep breaths or close your eyes for like 5 seconds and open them back up, sort of thing. Um, just really like any sort of like tactic or strategy to, I guess, make a not, known to the teacher that you're, God forbid, tired, and you sleep in their class. This is why I think we should be like the Spanish, the Spanish people, they have a thing called siestas, and I'm pretty sure in other parts of the world they do have like these naps, which usually happen around 2 o'clock ish, which just so happens to be the time where I usually start to feel tired. They have like mini naps or siestas at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or it could be like theoretically any time, but usually they do it, um, you know, I guess around 2, 3 o'clock ish, and I think that's what we need to do in Australia. It's completely normal to take a nap. I reckon midday. There's some days where you might want to take a mini nap before work, or mini nap right after school before you start homework. I think naps should be more common within the work and school environment. I don't think they're entirely childish. If other places in the world like Spain can do it, why can't Australia? Many restaurants, they open from, let's say, around 10 o'clock, then they close at 2. They take a little break, and then they resume again at 5. Um, Not to, I guess, to take like a break, sort of, but I guess as like business, they want to close when there's a whole lot of customers, then open right when they're about to receive like a new, I guess, rush after work. But I reckon we should have more breaks. And I remember, I don't know where I got this from. I believe it was a YouTube video, but apparently humans used to sleep in a very different sleep cycle before the Industrial Revolution. And, we used to, sleep, I'm pretty sure twice a day. We used to have like a lot more naps, if I remember. And sometimes, um, I guess this is before the Industrial Revolution, and you'll know why in a sec. Humans, yeah, they used to, take naps, a lot more naps, and they used to, sometimes wake up at night and then, stay awake for a couple of hours and go back to sleep. I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but I guess everyone's sleep habits are different. So, there's bound to be someone in the world who has like a sleep pattern where they go to bed at like what 10 o'clock at night, then they wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and they go back to sleep at like 3 a.m., which may sound really weird, but there's been moments in my life where I sometimes wake up at like 4 a.m. in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning because I left like my light on. So I like wake up, turn my light off. But like some days I'm like, or some nights, sorry, I'm like, what? Maybe I'll scroll on my phone for a bit and I'll go back to sleep. Um, and I guess like around the time of the Industrial Revolution, that's when we got like, you go to bed at 10 o'clock, you wake up at 6 sort of thing. I guess that's why we took a lot less naps because our lives became like very structured. You wake up, go to the factory, work, go back home, eat, sleep, sort of thing. And I guess that's also evident within the current school and work system. But I reckon, if you don't want like people to fall asleep at work or fall asleep at school, especially when they have to drive home afterwards, like obviously you shouldn't drive while you're tired. I believe that the school system should allow, um, 1 hour naps. That may sound weird, but they should do it. They should give students the option to nap during their breaks. Like lunch or recess. They should open like a mini nap room or something like that, or just allow students to like sleep in like classrooms, or just to rest their eyes. Same place, same thing in the work environment. I think it's a totally fair proposition. And to, I guess, I cap this video off. Yeah, there's definitely been times where I've felt like I wanted to sleep during class, especially today. Not because it was boring, but because I had to wake up early. And I reckon, it's natural to feel tired. You shouldn't really be seen as rude or anything like that. Um, but I reckon schools, work environment, just really any place where you have to stay there for a long amount of time, should adopt like a siesta type system where, you can take naps if you want to, maybe for like an hour or two, and that gives you like, I guess, energy. You feel calm, you feel relaxed afterwards, and I guess it'll actually increase productivity because once you had a very good nap, you're like, all right, let me just go back to this task. And I guess it also limits burnout as well. So it's a very good system. I don't know why we don't have it here in Australia, and you shouldn't feel, I guess, ashamed for we shouldn't feel ashamed for taking like naps at work or school, within given reason, not in class, but maybe like on our breaks or something. Um, and I guess like you know, in some ways it can help us. Like what if you have to go to a meeting afterwards, or what if you're going to catch public transport, commute back home by car, and you're really really tired, so you can't obviously do those things. Um, you know, and I think, yeah, we should definitely adopt, um, more rest for students. As at the end of the day, it's not just about time; it's just about productivity. You know, someone's going to be way more productive, if they feel happier, if they well rested. But obviously, the high school education system and I guess the HSC and some workplace environments don't really acknowledge that sort of thing. They just want to pump out the best sort of results. Um, but I reckon, yeah, quality over quantity. But anyway, That's all I have to say, and hopefully my internet will be back to normal and it won't be down. Anyway, I'll catch you all later. See you all next time, and happy April Fools if you celebrate April Fool's Day. Bye.